heaven bound. Yippee yay, yippee yo. We gotta go just to rest our souls and take a little walk on the streets of gold. We heaven bound and we save souls.
Hi, welcome to the Supernatural World. I'm your host, Cornelius Williams, also known as Love. Welcome back to all of you who've been watching, and to all the new viewers out there. Thank you for watching. I want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe. This is episode 10. I have a great guest here today who goes by God's Tingle, my dear friend Owens, who I've known since 1992. Her at the Singles Ministry at the church. But before I bring her on, I got some sad news that it really hit me hard. My guest from episode 2, Bishop Curtis Earthquake, Bishop Earthquake Kelly, passed away on May 6th. If you guys remember, he was my guest from episode 2, former voodoo priest that was into witchcraft, former boxer, deliverance pastor. This was like really shocking because I actually saw him at church on Sunday. We both attended Revelation Church, Prophet Lovie Elias in Simi Valley. I actually saw him on Sunday, the day before he passed, and it was strange because I saw him actually 2 weeks prior to that also, and I noticed he was like limping. This had nothing to do with his passing, though. He was just in pain, and I saw him during the Thursday night prophetic service. People were kind of helping him walk into church, and I got up and hugged him. I said, "Hey, Earthquake, what's going on, man? Are you in pain?" And I think he kind of just, no big deal, but he was having problems walking. I think he mentioned he had carpal tunnel or some type of arthritic thing going on with his leg. And that's the first time I really seen him in that much pain. I see him all the time. And then I saw him on Sunday, which looked better, Sunday, May 5th, first Sunday of this month. And after service, I walked with him to the car. We had a little conversation. And I always hug him. You know, he's like a gentle giant teddy bear. And I thanked him again. I said, "Man, I want to thank you once again for doing the show, bring you back on in the near future." And we kind of just joked as we was walking to the car. You know, I said, "I got to get you back in the ring, Earthquake, because you used to be a boxer." And he said, "Yeah, I got about a couple 3-rounders left in me." Those are like his last words to me. And then, you know, we hugged in the face as he was getting in the car. His wife was there, kids. And I said, "Love you, Earthquake." And he always responded back, "Love you too," or "Love you more." And so I thought nothing of it until the next day. You know, I got word his wife announced that he passed. He actually passed while he was praying on his knees, which is the best way to go. His wife said she came in the room and he was on his knees praying, but she thought he fell asleep. And so when she found him, he had already passed over. So I'm saddened by that. I'm kind of happy because I know he's in heaven with his son. And anybody that know Earthquake, he died twice before. The first time he went to hell, then he went to heaven the second time. So he's united with his son, and they're going to have, I got a little video clip we're going to show you also, just to show you some clips from episode 2, some photos of him and I at this, it was a Channel 6 launching of this network, him, Bishop Ernest Johnson from episode 3, and then another photo of him and I and Dean Braxton from episode 1 out for lunch when Dean came out here to shoot the movie After Death. I was on the set with him. We all got together for lunch. So he was a real dear friend. Oh, and there's another photo where film that him and that Ernest and I produced called Public Transportation, which is out on a minor level now. We're still trying to get a major release for it, but Earthquake was actually an actor in that movie as well. And I was a producer. This was even before I even knew who he was. I met him actually after I found out he was in our movie, after watching Sid Roth. And, for all out there, Earthquake was actually on 700 Club, TBN, CBN, what's the other one? All the major networks. So he was known worldwide. He traveled all over the world too. So I just want to pay respects to him. We have also his funeral arrangement information, which is going to be on June 1st for any of those who know him and want to reach out to the family and attend. So I'm still kind of shaken up by that, but I'm glad I got a chance to see him one last time on May 5th, day before his passing. So, and I'm glad that God graced me to have him on the show also, considering he's been on all the major outlets. And we can just add the supernatural world onto that also, which may have been one of his last interviews. Well, without further ado, I'm going to bring you, this is episode 10. Just want to remind everybody once again to like, share, subscribe. It's very important because we want the show to get out there all over the world. And we also air on the Now Network also every Friday morning, 12:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what time over in Africa, Europe, everywhere else it airs. So just check your listings for that. Well, I have a great guest here. I call her my big baby sister, and she calls me her big baby brother. And I've known her since 1992, about a year after I got out of the military, head of the singles ministry at West Angeles, Bishop Charles E. Blake. And we kind of just remained friends all this time. So I met her back in 92, and I was very intrigued as I got to know her. She mentioned that she was she had just actually was in a fatal car accident the year before. This is 1991, that when she died, left her body, saw Jesus, saw heaven from a distance. And, we've always been spiritually connected. We get into that also. And she's also a professional singer, songwriter, producer, and she toured a lot during the Diana Ross and the Supremes tributes, and she also writes her own music and teach other people how to sing and songwrite, all that. And she was very supportive when I came out with my album also, Judgment Day the compilation, and she always looked out for me, and we look out for each other. Anyway, Tingle, welcome to the supernatural world.
Welcome. Woo-hoo!
Finally, huh?
Yes, except for eventually I'll get over there. Okay.
Yeah, well, you get back. Oh, there's a photo of the two of us also together from one of the last times you were out here. We went to church. It was right at the church. We have that. We'll display it.
We got to get Blake on here.
Yeah. I bump into him a lot. I used to give them free movie tickets. The Blake.
They all go to West Angeles.
Yeah. So you're living you're in Maryland presently now, right? And then before that, you're.
Yes.
Okay.
It's called Upper Marlboro, so it's similar to like Fox Hills Mall, the area, upscale.
Okay.
Upscale African American area. So.
Well, I followed your career from when you were out here. You lived out here in L.A., and then I remember you moved to Corona, California, or somewhere down that way, Arizona. So you move around quite a bit, but on a mission for the Lord.
You only know a couple of situations, but yeah. There's something me and musician, we don't have tolerance for stupid.
Well, I'm an actor. I totally hate.
No, okay, because we got this thing that may explode. So it's like, let me leave before I have the Hulk come out. So.
Yeah. Well, Let's get into some of your, because I know I want to talk about this car accident, and you've also had other encounters where you saw the Lord and He tells you things.
Yes.
We'll get into a lot of that. So I want to first start off talking about that car. Oh, by the way, God is good, because as you told me, you've been in 9 what could have been fatal car accidents. And
Yes. Four of them were like close to fatal.
yeah,
Uh, mm, I I'm in pain here and there at times, like yesterday, but God is blessing considering. I mean, one of them was where they literally ran over me.
oh goodness.
Yes, and I'm still here.
You're still
So
here. So I'm saying, people, you're not going to go anywhere until it's your time. I mean, there's some cases of premature. If you're walking with the Lord, you're going to be here to your purpose. That's why I'm a little saddened by Earthquake departing, but he died 2 other times. This was his 3rd time, and finally the Lord said, "Okay, you've completed your purpose and mission. Well done, my faithful servant." So let's talk about the car accident from 1991. You were actually rear-ended, and where were you going? What kind of car were you driving, and what was going on that day?
I remember I had that white Firebird long time ago.
I think so. I think so.
It was a pearl white Firebird. Anyway, I was in that. I was rear-ended. I was sitting at a stoplight, and it was dark, and I can't remember where I was going, at the particular time, but it's somewhere in Los Angeles, and on a close to Culver City or something.
Oh.
And I remember immediately the moment that the impact hit. It was literally like my spirit was just thrust out my body. And it was like went up this way. And I could see everybody coming over towards my body. Right. And I remember the freedom of no pain,
Mm-hmm.
and a feeling of surety,
Mm-hmm.
that I knew where I was going. And the only thing I thought of this world was my son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me show. Okay, I always tell people, yeah, that's my son
I
and my grand.
remember him. That's Terrence, right? Is his name Terrence? Yeah.
Now,
It's hard to believe. He was like that age the last time I saw him, like really young. Now he's got kids.
you saw him
Huh?
later. I'll remind you. But I have grandkids now.
Yeah, yeah.
So my son was the only one I thought about for that moment while I was going, because once I was thrust out, I looked back for that, thought of myself, I said, "Oh, he has this to look forward to," because it was wonderful, the feeling and all the music and everything. I'm like, and all of a sudden I'm going. I was always wondering why I like to speed.
Yeah. In a rush, huh? Everybody in LA's in a rush. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like wonderful. And I'm like looking at all these colors going by and everything that was going. And then all of a sudden, the colors and all that stopped. And I was in a place of nothingness,
Okay.
where there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the nothingness, like in the Northeast area somewhere, it was all of a sudden, I saw a light. And from the light, sorry.
No, take your time, because you're reliving it. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so from the light, there was a city. I looked closely and I could see a city. And And
we
and
can.
then when I saw the city, then he said, I heard God say at that particular point, I'm sending you back. You haven't finished your work. And I was instantly back by
Your body.
body.
Let me just add on.
And they had strapped to a thing and
Wow.
all this stuff that was going on. They had my body and everything strapped to a, yeah. So it was, that was
They
an
had already
experience.
took you out of the car when they had you strapped, or were you strapped up in the
By the
car?
time I came back to myself, so that experience out there felt like 2 hours, but here it was like 2 minutes.
Okay. Let me just add something onto that to validate. This is what Jesus did for us believers, because you didn't feel any pain when you got in the accident when you left your body. This is what Jesus meant when he said, um, what's that scripture where it says, death, where's your sting? Because he actually conquered death for us. So as believers, we don't experience the agony of death. So what he does, like with your situation with the car accident, he pulled your spirit out of your body first before you went through that pain and agony. And this is the same thing that Dean talked about also. He has a book, if you want to know what it's like to die. There's a bunch of scriptures in there that talk about that. Like a person don't actually die until their spirit leaves their body, right? We think that the body dies, then the spirit leaves, but the life of the flesh is the spirit. The spirit gives life. So God, his grace and mercy, when us believers die, he take our spirit first. So that's why I say don't fear death, because he's conquered death. Death, where's the sting? But if you're not a believer, you feel all the agony of death. And that's why, guys, we have to definitely receive Jesus as Lord and Savior, because to him, death is just a transition. Like you just transition over, like just stepping out of your body, stepping out of your clothes, and you didn't feel anything probably until you got back in your body.
Right, right. And so whatever it was must have been really bad at that particular point before they put me in on that.
What
and,
was?
And it was like right after that, what happened, I really started, I'm like, oh, this is real. I mean, for the first time, I'm like, I kind of, how you kind of mulling through life and I'll get there and there's really no purpose.
Yeah.
I kind of know what I want to do. And
Yeah.
God was telling me, I used to design clothes. So this kind of stuff, I was good. I have a degree in fashion.
Yeah. Wow, so, you're good. I forgot you did that. Yeah.
I went to Trade Tech, and I was doing that.
I remember that. I was
going to Bishop Blake's church, and I heard God say He wanted me to sing, and I said, "Okay, I'll sing in the choir."
Yeah.
Wait. This is before. Oh, wait. Before the accident, I forgot to tell you this. Before that, about a week prior, I was in the. I'm a doubting Thomas. I want to know. I believe, but I don't know about Jesus, right? And so all that, right? And so it was from that particular point that car accident. It's like, okay, now all of a sudden it opened up my questions. Who am I? Why am I here?
We have to ask those questions.
On the earth, okay? And just some job, at all times you're doing your purpose or you're helping someone else do theirs. So yes, I'm a worship leader and a minister as well. But I do jazz, pop, soul. Absolutely. I'm trying to raise up some positive musicians, singers. For instance, Lakeside. I know I can go to a Lakeside concert. I don't have to listen to any icky words or anything. No, they're wonderful. I book them sometimes as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I like about you. You're real. I just don't like religious people or religion itself, because like you said, you're in a box and you just
Yeah.
limited in your thinking. And that's
He's
why
a
this show, I'm trying to show people the spirit, you know, there's more to the spirit world than just a bunch of religious, you know, doctrines. You know, you got to get to know the person of God.
right, right. So at that particular point of me trying to search life and my purpose in the whole thing, I sought out, and a friend of mine named Tony, who's in heaven now, from way back, she pointed me to the vertical leap and boss the movement,
Been there, yeah.
right.
You've
She
invited me.
and yeah, and then they had these things. They had wow, these whole things that were happening at particular. God is funny too. Yeah. So this is the second part of the experience. Okay, so bear with me. So the first time I went to the vertical leap, it was up in the mountain. Okay, in their resort, the Al Hattie's Christian Resort up there, and it was up there, right? So when we get there, I'm like loving it. Oh, I'm gonna learn from a millionaire how to do business and how to make this work and all that. I was more interested at even with that experience of being out of here, I was more interested in money, making money, than I was with life, you know, in God and my purpose. And so anyway, I'm there at this place, and there are probably about 50 other people there. And I'm looking at, we call him Coach, right? I'm looking at him and his wife, Al Hollingsworth and his wife. These millionaires, they own the packaging plants for General Mills, Coca-Cola, and all of that, right? And I'm looking at them flat on their face like this to God. And I had never seen that from Bishop Blake or other people. I've seen them do this, but I've not seen them all the way. Not throwing shade on Bishop Blake. Yeah, because I haven't been to every service that he's ministered, because he's a wonderful man. Okay. Anyway, they're flat on their face to God. And I'm like, well, I don't have to do that. I've never seen Bishop Blake do that. And I heard God say, that's why they have what they have and you have what you have.
Yeah. You better
so
be thankful and grateful.
And then I got up, and I remember I'm praising at that point. I'm praising, and he was playing praise music and stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm praising, I'm doing this, and I see a light. And I do like this. In this realm, I couldn't see it. So I go back inward. I got to go inward, right? So I said, please come back. Please come back. All of a sudden, and it's like, you know, the difference. Like right now, I see I have a light right there. So I can see these shadows through my arm. But it's God, you don't see any shadows.
Right. Yeah, it's no shadow.
Right. So I did like this, and the light, and so I knew it was a light. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to come back. Please come back. And then the light comes back, and
I know.
In the light, I could see the image of a man. And he held his arms out to me. And I could see the marks in his arms. It was Jesus. He came over and just hugged me. It just rocked me. He rocked me and he said, I love you. You just know anything and everywhere, I love you, right? And I just
wow, he does.
At the point, and he just at that particular point, he just turn into like a whirlwind,
Whirlwind. Hmm.
something kind of like a light
Right.
whirlwind, and it was
Uh-huh.
like this and kind of swept through me. So all all the unknowing
Holy
pain,
Spirit.
this whatever, and not knowing, and you know how we always chasing love and money and whatever. It didn't matter
Right.
anymore.
Right.
Matter. It's not. It's like I tell people, what is $1 billion to your Father God who owns billions of galaxies?
Right. Created
It's
everything too.
nothing.
Nothing.
And how dare I made him so small?
Right. Right.
Just no.
Wow, that's wonderful. You when you had the accident, when you saw Jesus, did you see him any of his features, or were you close to him, or far? And
People always ask me that, but it's like, what
well, this
color?
is for the audience.
I know, but what color what color is Jesus?
Yeah,
He's like my sister's color. You know my sister. It's
yeah.
like her.
Well,
Okay, a little bit,
y'all about the same color though. You and your sister, right?
a little bit lighter than I am.
Okay, more
And
olive,
he's like
olive.
that. And yeah, the main thing I remember
The
is
eyes.
the
I hear the
eyes.
eyes are so they draw you in. You can see the
But you,
universe.
but you don't know. It's like, why do I get honor?
Right.
Wow, you know,
And
wow.
and you
It's
know
like, wow.
and you know the thing is that's how Jesus is. He wants to love everybody like that, but people don't want to believe in him. They don't think he exists. They got all these false uh, images and opinions of him. But he came down. He would have died for one person if only one person accepted him. And you know, I want to ask you, when you first saw him in the accident, what was your thoughts? Were you afraid being in the spirit world and seeing him? Or I know you mentioned you're at peace.
I wasn't afraid. I was like in awe that
Yeah,
the King of Kings,
the
God,
creator.
the Creator, has made a decision to come
See
to
him.
me.
Yeah. It's
And it's like, wow, wow. But when you think of it, people don't understand. Like I tell people, hell is real. Forever is a long time.
mhm.
You might have to itch forever, can't scratch it and can't get used to it. Okay. So Jesus didn't come so you can go to heaven. He came so you would miss hell. That hell had to have been such a bad place that he's like, look, I need to go
I don't
and
want you to
go
go
through
there.
this stuff, so because they don't get it. They have no clue of
I have to redeem them because
they have
that's
no clue what
yeah,
that is going to be like. I mean, just think about it. Just itching forever, can't
yeah,
scratch it and can't get
yeah.
used to it.
All the regret.
Oh, it's too much.
Yeah. When you guys when he spoke to you, was it in English, or was it like a did you guys move your lips? Was it like a unknown language but you understood it?
It was more like, I don't know if you ever
Te-
saw a Star Trek, and
Telepathy, yeah. Thought to thought, mind to mind, heart to heart, spirit to spirit.
it, yes, yes, I could hear every word he said. I mean, he's very, he doesn't have to go through. I mean, he could, if he wants and stuff, but it's like,
Yeah, he knows your heart and every thought. So it's
yes,
like you guys just and he's
and,
very transparent, so you can see everything. He shows you everything, and he
yeah,
sees everything in you like X-ray almost.
yes,
You know.
yes, exactly, exactly. So, the main thing that though, like I said, is it put me online to do my purpose, because like I said, I was doing fashion design. That was another thing. I was doing that, and I talked to, I'm like, if you're real, show me. And of course he shows me. But he also told me he wanted me to sing. I was being disobedient, kind of like Jonah, and wanted to just, I'll just sing in the choir over here, and I will
Still
do
do my
the
thing.
do the
Yeah.
back. But God wanted me to deal with not the outer clothing, but the inner, you know, which and he had. I mean, people tell me that all the time. I, my voice,
Mm.
and it's like, okay, I don't necessarily see or feel that, but they do.
You
They're able to.
you do actually got you can sing. We're gonna have her website information up if you want to listen to her music on all the websites. I remember I think this is back in '93 we went out and you did that karaoke. I was like,
Oh,
oh my God, everybody, you got a standing ovation. Everybody was like, wow, we didn't expect a professional to come through because everybody else was sounding kind of crappy. And you came up in there and just put out the water, and everybody's like, who's this? Where's she come from? Remember that? I forget where we
yeah.
were, but we,
I've been blessed. I did have a #1 hit also on internet radio. There's a story on that too, because about uh well, I think I told you about the
I
that
think
I
you did. Yeah. Yeah. I know you do your thing. You have your own publishing and everything.
I'm saying I
Production.
was offered a major record deal, but they wanted me not. They didn't just want me; they want me to do what Beyonce does and take my clothes off and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you, I do, and oh, and be nice to this person.
Yeah.
Oh, they were going to give me $500,000 up front if I be hurt. And I
Package
said,
deal.
they said, you never make it in the business. I said, I'll make it in the business and you'll be out of a job next year. And I'm not sure what happened. I just know the next year what happened is the internet
Yeah.
came.
And it came out.
So that doubled the playing field. And I had a #1 hit on mp3.com. Remember?
Yeah.
Back?
I remember
Yeah.
all that stuff changed because I was doing music during that time, 99, 2000, when the internet and the Napster and all that stuff came out back then,
Yeah.
MP3 and
Oh, no, like I tell them, age is a privilege denied to many. I
mm,
am 67, not 57. I'm 67.
yeah,
Okay. I'm still performing. The average performer out here is 500 and something per whatever out here per gig, right? So I got to talk to you about something too.
yeah.
Anyway,
I'm gonna bring something up that yeah, actually, yeah. Let me go to that real quick. Yeah, I had just finished working on a film with Brian Hooks from Three Strikes, actor, comedian, director. It's called what is it called? The Second Time Around. It's a romantic comedy. I actually played a very funny pastor in that movie.
I
Man,
remember.
the Lord helped me put that together. It was so funny. I remember him waking me up about 3, 4. He said, "Let's publish this," because I don't really write, and Brian granted me the space to be able to write that scene and do whatever I wanted. It was at church, and then I married them in the end. I'm like, I amazed myself because I never really did comedy for film. I did like a sitcom years ago, but never did comedy for film. And I wasn't sure if I could pull up, but I really felt it. And,
And you
just finishing up prophetic school.
low
And
key though. You so low key.
yeah,
You know everybody in the industry, but you're so low key.
yeah, I
You're
just try to do the thing. And then because I trust God whenever he opens up doors, and I know he has big things for me. But reason I brought that up is because I'm gonna tell about this one supernatural event. Because I know when I was finishing up that film, you had called me and you were telling me about the voiceover job for
Mhm.
that Disney like soundtrack you did, and then you guys
Coyote
are trying to do like a coyote tigress something.
and the Tigress.
Yeah. So Tingle, my big baby sister, has always been looking out for me. So she said, hey, I'm trying to get you in on doing the voiceover narration or whatever for this. So this was actually the following week when we wrapped the film, which led to we shot it like a couple of days that well, we wrapped the film, and then that week we did that. And then afterwards is when I had to go in for emergency surgery. And I'm going to tell you the miracle on that. I had a embryonic hernia for years around the navel area. And I've been trying to do the surgery, the hernia surgery, for like over 7 years. And I was very frustrated because every time I would try to do the surgery, they didn't want to do it because of my blood pressure being too high. And I remember going in January 2022. This is what I'm telling you guys. God not only knows your faults, he answers your prayers, even the little stuff you don't. And I think I mentioned another incident on one of the other episodes, but I went to the VA on my birthday, January 10th, 2022. Following year, I had a heart attack, but I'll get into that later. So this is January 10th, 2022. And I remember going in there, I did the EKG, all the tests to try the hernia surgery. Because during the COVID era, I actually got my pressure down, controllable, but the surgery kept getting canceled due to the COVID situation, the hospital being shut down. And then third time when I was in good condition to do the surgery, July 2020, I got COVID. And then I'm still trying year or two later, so 7 years overall. So this is like my final straw. I go on there January 10th, 2022, and I remember storming out of the VA because, they were like, your pressure. And it was before I started really taking the meds, and even the meds.
I was praying for you too.
Yeah, so I said, Lord, I'm tired of this. I'm going through this. I really want to have this surgery because, I hated not being able to really take my shirt off, get this little bulging thing on your stomach and all this stuff. And so I said, Lord, I really want to have this surgery. Please, please, please make it possible for me to have this surgery without going through the red tape, going through all those procedures. And so I said I would like to have it possibly in June. So we finished wrapping the film end of May. We do that trailer thing June. An hour or so after we finished doing the voiceover thing, I go to make salad, make lunch, and then I'm in all this tremendous pain. It turned out to be a ruptured intestinal blockage, which was turning into sepsis. Okay, I didn't think that I would make it through the day if I didn't go to emergency. I couldn't sit, stand, or lay down. It was like really the most pain I ever felt. So somehow I drove myself to ER when I couldn't sit, and then I had to wait 3 hours and crunch on the floor. And God graced me. They found a bed for me. They only had 20 beds available. So anyway, as I'm laying there when they're doing all the tests, I'm in pain constantly because the morphine, everything they kept pumping in me wasn't working. And the doctor kept pushing on the thing, and it was like hard as a wood. And I was like, stop, just going crazy. And then finally, when they said, looks like we're going to have to do an emergency surgery, I kind of smiled on the inside, like, yeah, I get to do the surgery. And then I realized the Lord reminded me, because that's how he made it possible for me to do the surgery when I was whining in January. And it happened in June, just like I asked. But I didn't know it was going to happen that way, but did the surgery, they did the care of the ruptured hernia and the intestinal blockage, and the doctor even told me, he said, good thing you got in here when you did, because this could have been very fatal because it was turning into to sepsis. I felt that, man, if I didn't go there myself, I wouldn't have made it through because I couldn't sit down, stand, or anything. So that happened when we filmed that trailer. That's why I'm bringing this up now, because it's the perfect time. So that was
just reminded me too of that. My surgery, and I think I told you about the events that led up to that.
Oh yeah, you had a situation also. Yeah, you deal with a lot of supernatural stuff too, because I think you said one time you felt like somebody pushed you down the stairs and you broke your wrist.
Yes, it literally did feel like that.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, that day, like I said, I was headed to do praise and worship for a small church that was starting in their home. Okay, it's a whole bunch of townhomes over there in Virginia and in here. I'm blessed to live in a single family dwelling, so I'm blessed. But anyway, it was COVID during COVID time, and the bad times where you're supposed to put a mask on and everything. And I told Mister, they must put a mask on for me to do this, for me to sing.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when I got there, the usher that was trying to bring me in didn't want to put hers on. And I said, well, I'm not coming in. That was the agreement, and it ain't about the money, it's about doing what's right.
Yeah, about being, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and being an older person too,
Yeah.
And so anyway, the minister starts rushing down the stairs. He didn't even have a shirt on. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go. And I left, and on my way back, I had to get a item or something, and I went to get the item and take it down the stairs, and I ended up breaking this wrist. And I had surgery, and it was broken all the way to here.
Ooh,
yeah.
That.
And what people don't understand is how much surgeries cost. It was $250,000. My part of it was like 10% of that. So it kind of wiped my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for me, we had just sold some property at that particular time. Yeah. So anyway, you live and you learn. But I kind of had a clue at the very beginning, because there was a dark, shadowy figure on the way. It was under a bridge on the way to the. So I was like.
And you had another video you sent me where birds. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So my mom is a bird person. So she, I wish you could see it.
We got it.
She's a bird. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So she, when she died, there was on the way home back to Arizona from Texas. As soon as I got on the freeway, right on the ramp of the freeway was a bird right in the middle of the freeway, right? And I'm like, wow, oh my gosh. That's either God telling me, giving her an eye. Anyway, it was a message. I didn't know exactly what it was, right? And so after that accident where I fell down the stairs with my wrist, that was like in December of 2020, going into 21. So in
COVID era.
Right. In March of 2021 is when I had this. It happened. Oh, sorry. Is when I saw the white birds that I saw. And what happened? My birthday is March 5th, and I was shopping for something for my birthday. I was celebrating that I could get up and do anything that day. And as soon as I'm done, I go over to my car. And my car was surrounded by those white birds. And I took a video of them. Yeah. It's incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing what goes on in the spirit world. God always communicates with us somehow. Your angels or people or signs or different symbols through people, through a spirit, sometimes face to face. We just have to pay attention to what's going on. And spiritually, and he has a way of getting your attention somehow with things that you can't like ignore, you know.
That's why I wrote my song, What Do You Find in Me? What do you find in me? When did you light up my destiny? Where in the world did you find the key to open my heart that was broken in three? What do you find in me? When did you light me up? Where in the world did you find the right key for true love coming from angels, Lord? You're above others. You save my heart with your love. I thank you, Jesus.
There you go, God's Tingle. Where can they go to listen to that? Or I don't know if you're on.
I gotta
on
re-put
I
it
know you're
out.
redoing some stuff.
I,
Okay.
yeah, some moving and certain places not giving you the what you
Oh,
should get and the whole thing.
well,
Like a big
guys. Yeah, well, guys, just follow her for now on social media and the links we have put up. And when she some more music, you can definitely contact her or purchase it through her. Also has a cash app as well if you guys want to send donations. So since the accident and those encounters, have you what because I mean you've always given me great advice too, and I know that God gives you messages. Anything you want to tell the viewers or share with the world
about you.
about me?
I'm a visionary.
Yeah, she'd be telling me things.
I already know yours is huge. And God said, stop running from it because your vision is huge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all those people, all this, I mean, I got a little bit of fame because of the Diana Ross tribute thing, which is, I started doing that. The other thing is when my song went #1, when it hit at the scared the heck out of me because people were in my life. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't like
Everybody
that.
knows who you are. It's like scary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was a little bit, but I'm not afraid anymore. Back then I was, and yeah, but now I feel I'm in my purpose. Like I said, and if yeah, professional music productions or I mean, honestly speaking, it's easy to contact me. Tingle Singer, Tingle Singer. All these links come
God's
up.
tingle, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they can. I mean, because I can teach them. I can help. I have some people right now. I'm well connected also with producers. In fact, I contacted one for you. They have Grammys too. So yeah, so that you guys can connect too. So
Yeah,
that's why, and you guys share Earthquake Kelly. So
yeah, they know him. Yeah. Yeah, he's well
yeah.
known. I want to we I know we're getting close to wrapping up soon. I want to bring up cuz you told me about Coach. I want to just mention something about I've been to the retreats a couple times when you used to always tell me about them. We spend a weekend there, Boss. Yep. Actually,
Mhm.
he brought Boss to West Angeles, I think, for the kids or something, right?
First time, no, that was first time. I
Oh,
think they did a boss thing at
but
the singles ministry.
but
Remember?
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's because you ran the singles ministry back then, 1992.
I
Oh,
didn't run it
well, you were like the lead, the first one, the main one that I
and
met
stuff.
there. And remember that you were in charge somehow.
Local, that's
Yeah.
all.
Hey, but I wanna touch bases because some things that Coach had told me. I remember the first time I went. I think it was '99, 2000 maybe, and I had kind of like an encounter back in '96. So it seems like a 7.5 year wilderness period I went through where a lot of bad things were happening because I did actually have a physical encounter. And I remember '98, I filed bankruptcy January '98. April, my recording studio, everything gets stolen, so I'm taking these losses, no credit, no money. Now my recording studio, computer, everything in my house gone. I'm devastated, right? I had to start over. But I remember going to coach. We had a private talk, and I remember asking him, I said, well, I believe God want me to do this purpose, because I'm always, even now, I'm very purpose driven right now. Even then, I was certain that this is what he wanted me to do. Then all these bad things happen. I'm like, how's it? And I remember asking Coach, and this is how good of a man he was. I said, how come if God wants me to do this, how come he allowed all my stuff to be stolen and me to go bankrupt and all this bad stuff to happen? How am I going to do it if all this, I'm like really asking a legitimate question. And then he kind of paused, looked at me, kind of almost paused and was kind of like, this is definitely, he's on purpose, but he's got to go through something. But he paused, looked at me and said, how come God told Moses to lead the people out of Egypt, but it took 40 years? He had to spend 40 years in the wilderness. That's when I started learning more about the process of,
but because they murmured and complained. Yeah. That's what they murmured. And when you stop that, then you're out the wilderness.
Yeah, but he was also telling me, he was also telling me the part of it also is development. I needed to develop and grow into the person God wanted me to be. And that wilderness actually brought me closer, because another thing, when I lost everything, I related to Job more than anybody, because Job lost everything. And guess what? God restored everything back to me. But I relate the most to the story of Job, because that resonated with me, because I know how I feel to lose everything. No credit, no money.
I felt like right after that last accident, where the whole thing, stuff was, like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter at all. But he said something that I wouldn't have known until I came on this side.
On the East Coast.
Yes, because the West Coast, the people from on the West Coast, they got more sense about following the laws. A lot of people on this side don't. The landlords, I'm like, how are you guys even getting homes? It's ridiculous over us and all that. No.
Criminal activity.
We got to fix, I don't know how to fix it. I pray for all of them, but no, we definitely don't vote for Trump. Whatever you do, that's stupid.
Worship Orange Jesus. That's another Jesus. That's not the Jesus we serve. But anyway, not to get very, because we be all day trying to figure that stuff out. But okay, so that one script I want to just tell everybody about. I think it's 1 Corinthians 15, 55, 57.
I want to share one thing you will see on my website. Jesus is my CEO, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and you got that bio. Yeah.
I have that on my website, my cards, everything. If they don't like it, I don't care. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Jesus is Lord.
Because I tell people all the time, he pays really good. Coach was saying something. For one, he said that I asked him, how do you pray? One, he does this thing where every hour he gives God 10 minutes. He takes out of his time. He don't care if he's at a conference with a big whatever.
Yeah.
He don't care. He takes out of his time and the whole thing. And I'm like, how do you do that? He said to not do it is idolatry.
Yeah, and even you got to look at all the other religions out there, even whatever God they pray to. If you look at the Muslims, take time to God 5 times a day. There's communication. It's intimacy. Again, our God, and that's what I want to present the real person, religious, historical, traditional, figure once you get to know the real person, you're not going to have a problem wanting to praise them and thank them and bless them and do things for them.
I'm older. I'm 67. I spent 3 hours in the morning. I started getting up at 6 something in the morning, 3 to 9 hours communicating, praying, praising, and all that with God. And I'm like, how do you? And he, damn, another client, another something. It's another opportunity. This and that. Yeah, and like the other side of every great adversity is an equal or greater reward. So we got.
And you got to understand, once you learn him as a person, regardless of what you go through, he's there. You're going to be okay, even if it's death, because with your situation, when you actually die, that's considered the worst thing. He took you out of your body before you experienced the agony of dying. What a great God. He conquered that pain and that death and agony on the cross, so you don't have to experience it when you die. So it's like you sleep. You just transfer out, boom. Different realm. And see, that's what this show I'm hoping to teach everybody. There's different spiritual realms. It's not just heaven, hell, God, and the angels. There's different principalities out there, different spiritual realms.
Yeah, you put God in a box.
Yeah, you put them in a box, and that's why the churches really need to be teaching about this, and that's why it's good to listen to somebody that have seen God, that talk to him, hear from him, and so you can learn of him. The Bible is great because you're basically doing the same thing I'm doing. You're reading about other people that have had encounters with God. I'm bringing you people that have had encounters with God, the same as the people you're reading about. So why don't you believe them? And you're never going to meet Abraham here, but you can meet Tingle, and she can tell you about her experience with Jesus. You see, but we discredit this because we think, oh no, it can't happen today, only then. And you're making them idols because now they're special and you're not. And God loves us the same. He's a respecter of persons.
Well, I tell people, everything you know is something somebody told you, something you read, or something you experienced.
Yeah, or you experienced. And it's better to experience God and encounter him versus just read about him, because he would teach you so much more face to face.
Like I had somebody tell me, this, and I wasn't going to go fast enough. Then it's going to take years before I can do this. Okay. I'm like, it's what God says.
Yes. So we got to get close to wrapping it up. Again, I want to give my prayer to Earthquake and his family, and we should have his info up again. And if anyone wants to attend the funeral. And also I want to give special thanks to God's Tingle Owens. We have her info here also in case anyone wants to learn how to sing or want to eventually purchase some of her music or produce.
If they want music produced, as long as it's positive, I'll help them.
Yeah. Any last words to the viewers and to whatever you want to close with? Close out in prayer, maybe, if you want, or whatever you want to.
Our love, God's name is I am, not I was, not I will be. His name is I am. And anything you put next to God's name, I am, that's not positive, it's a lie. Okay, so you have to say, I am healthy, I am safe, I am loved, I am prospering, I am at peace, I am confident, I am courageous, I am accomplished.
I am healthy. I am wealthy.
I am healthy. I am friendly. I am anything positive.
I am love.
Jesus said it. Jesus said, according to your belief, be it unto you.
Yes. Great point to end it on. I want to just also remind everybody again, and we can't reiterate this, please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. This episode 10, so it's going to probably be a few weeks before I get to episode 11. I already have the guests lined up, though, and the reason it's probably going to be maybe 6 weeks because I'm getting ready to do major dental work, like implants. I got another 6 teeth that got to come out, 7 are already had decided to leave on their own. So that'd be a total of 13. So we're gonna do this gum surgery, remove the next 6. We're gonna do the bone grafts, and then it's gonna be at 3 weeks before I can get the temps, and maybe over a 3-month period before I can actually get the implants. But I should be able to do another show in 4 to 6 weeks, you know. But if a little time go by, it's because of the surgery, the dental stuff. But the good news is you have these previous 10 episodes to watch to keep you busy up until then. All right, well, this is Cornelius Williams, also known as C Love. You've been watching The Supernatural World. You guys be blessed. Thanks once again for watching, tuning in. Please share, subscribe, like, and tell a friend. God bless you. I love you, and Jesus loves you more.
Heaven bound, yippee yay, yippee yo. We gotta go just to rest our souls. So take a little walk on the streets of gold. We heaven bound that we save souls.